You're listening to Not So Live from Asteroid G. I'm Mike Finkelstein. With me, as always, is...
Josh, raised in the sewers, Schaefer.
And...
Color me not surprised, Queen Bee.
And today we are talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which...
That's a coincidence since I lived in the sewers and all.
Yeah, it's surprising that we haven't talked about this for the podcast yet because I'm a gigantic TMNT fan.
Is there a word that means
he
more
really
than
is.
gigantic? Like, universally renowned TMNT fan?
This is true. I several awards.
Which turtle do you want to be?
Donatello, duh.
Okay. Josh?
Venus?
Raphael.
Venus the Milo?
I almost said Venus, but I was like, that might be a little too highbrow. But Raphael was always my favorite. Him and Donatello.
You didn't want to be Napoleon Bonafrog?
Usagi Yojimbo.
Ooh. I had the Space Usagi figure when I was growing up.
I did too.
Bridget, you were going to answer your question? No, apparently you weren't.
I think, which one's the purple mask? Is that
Donatello,
Donatello?
yeah.
Donatello.
He's the smart one.
Yeah, Donatello.
I liked him.
I like Raphael.
So, the
Raphael.
TMNT, just to cut you off and actually move on with this topic so we don't spend 20 minutes talking about who's the better turtle, which is Donatello. Donatello. 2-1, you lose.
This isn't a democracy.
You're right. It's my
a
podcast.
turtleocracy.
Oh.
Turtocracy.
It's a turtocracy.
So do you want to talk about movies?
La Tortega.
The television programs?
Yeah, we're going to talk about all of that. There's a lot. I mean, because they started as a parody comic. Mm-hmm. Which is actually the truth. They are a parody of Daredevil. Daredevil gets hit by radioactive goop in his original origin story from a truck that overturns, gets blinded, and gains superpowers. And that same scene is redrawn for the Turtles, and they get covered in the same radioactive goop. And you never see the kid again because who cares about him? Because he's way less interesting than 14 mutated turtles. Like, I mean, that's why
A rat.
Yeah, that's why. Well, depending upon which version of it. In the original origin, it was a rat. In the cartoon, it's a human who somehow becomes a rat.
Well, we don't listen to that one.
No. So, the original comics, I have read a fair portion of them.
I've read some of them.
They're decent.
Yeah.
They are what they are. They're very 90s.
Yeah. They don't hold up as well as the Tick does.
No.
Which is in a very similar
Well, the Tick
vein.
is very funny, and as much as the TMNT had a very parody kind of story to them,
It was not funny.
It was not funny at all. It's very bloody and dark and depressing.
Now, there's a Batman crossover with the Turtles, isn't there?
There was eventually that just came out like the last couple of years ago. Yeah,
Is
and
there
they have a
an
movie. for it.
Addams Family crossover with the Turtles?
Not that I know of.
Is there a Scooby-Doo crossover with the Turtles?
I would not be surprised, although I don't know of it.
Okay.
So,
I think didn't Archie Comics own the Turtles for a while?
they were making TMNT adventures based on the 80s comics, because there are a bunch of different runs of comics. There was the Mirage era, which everyone knows is the dark and depressing manga Daredevil bullshit, which is fun to read once, but they're very shallow stories, I guess is the best way to put it. Then Image took over on the run and did a really fucked up run. Like, they screwed around with the Turtles. Like, Donatello died and became a robot. Raphael lost his hand, got burned, then became the second Shredder. Leonardo, had something really weird happen to him.
Didn't he die too?
I think he almost died at one point as well.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the one that lost the hand, where Raph got burned and became the Shredder. And then Splinter started mutating into this weird rat bat thing, and Michelangelo got a girlfriend. Which, instead of going, okay, Mikey.
Mikey likes it.
You go, Mikey. And then, the Archie comics did their own run.
What kind of girlfriend? Was she also a turtle?
Probably.
Okay.
Or a lizard or something. I think it was a lizard girl.
Lizard girl.
Lizard
I
girl.
can't remember.
Yeah,
What
I
if
don't
her name
know.
was Liz?
Our sister Mab would know. And then Archie's did their own extension of the cartoons for a while, and then eventually I think Mirage got the comics back, and they've been making them ever since.
Or
Yeah,
IDW.
I think you're right. I think IDW might have had it for a little. They've popped around so many times, and Mirage I think is making them, but they might be released under IDW or Dark Horse.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay, so do you prefer the live-action Turtles or do you prefer the cartoon Turtles?
That's a very loaded question because there are four different cartoon series at this point, as well as two different versions of the live action ones.
Do you prefer the live action to the animated? And then we'll move from there.
There's your question does not make sense. Because to answer it, Okay, so the of the movies that we have had, we had the 3 live action ones done by Golden Harvest and Jim Henson Company. We had the CGI sequel to those, which was actually really good.
Yeah, it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, because only the first one of the original 3 was at all decent.
The second one wasn't bad.
The second one was fine. It was very cartoony and dumb, but it was fine. And the third one is complete garbage. Turtles in Time is awful in movie form. Then they had the CGI one that we discussed, which was really good. That was done by Warner Brothers, and I really enjoyed that one. And then they had the 2 Michael Bay movies, which are garbage.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about those.
Oh my God, they're so terrible. I can't even remember them because they were so bad. I can't remember the salient details. I just know that Green Arrow was on them, playing Casey
Stephen
Jones.
Amell?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Stephen Amell. He's fun. His Casey Jones was fine. The entire movie around it was awful.
I completely forgot those movies existed.
I know, right? See, that's
I only
'Cause you were
really
like-
remember the original live action.
live action one. That was pretty close to the comics and the origin story.
Who
and all
was
of
the
that.
April?
dark.
Wasn't she like Elizabeth, not Banks, but she was Elizabeth something?
No, she was no one.
I don't think she's been in anything.
She was no one.
Okay.
She was no one and remains no one.
She was April.
Because she was in a Turtles movie.
Seth Green was in it.
Yes, he was. I remember seeing him there, and Sam Rockwell.
I love Sam Rockwell.
It's really fun watching
Wasn't
that.
he a baddie?
Yeah, he was one of the little like foot goons, and then you're watching the movie, and you're like, "This is kind of boring." But oh my God, that's Sam Rockwell. What are you doing here?
This is not the caliber movie I would have expected you in.
But yeah, the first one's fun. I like the first one for what it is. It's decent retelling of the comic origin story, and the Shredder's fine, and the suits are really well animated because Jim Henson Company, and it's good. And then the second one was like everyone complained about how dark the first one was, so the second one's very family friendly and loses.
Boo.
Yeah, it loses a lot of the fun tone of the first one and goes way too broad with its comedy. It's just it doesn't work. Although it does have that one B movie actor in it who plays the RCI.
Oh yeah. You can't remember his name.
Yeah, no. But he was in like Star Trek and everything. He's in everything as a B movie guy. And like Waxwork. He was in that as the evil Waxwork guy.
And you had the dude from Surf Ninjas in it.
Was it the Surf or the Ninja?
Both. He was
Wow.
a Surf Ninja.
If you're going to be a
he's
ninja.
the second one, right? Yeah.
And the third one too, I think.
That Surf Ninja guy. I forgot about that movie. Which, Surf Ninjas and all those 3 Karate Kids, whatever that was called. 3 Ninjas.
3 Ninjas.
3 Ninjas. All of those came about because the TMNT
Yep.
movie was so popular and ninjas were suddenly huge. So,
I just want to say that Surf Ninjas remains a phenomenal movie and probably Leslie
that movie so
Nielsen's best work.
I hate that movie so hard.
Leslie Nielsen was in it.
I hate that movie so hard. So, live action movies, Josh.
The first
Opinions. Just the first one?
I like the first one. The second one was pretty good, but I also came out I was a child when those movies came out.
Yeah,
Like, because the first one was 1990?
I think so. 90 and then 92
90.
with Vanilla Ice.
Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go.
Go Ninja Go.
Still a very popular song amongst karaoke.
Is it really?
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's easy
But
lyrics.
it's the
I'm
green,
not kidding you.
the Green Machine gonna rock the town. Stop making a
Green
scene.
Machine is totally going to mark it down.
It's amazing how much of that song I remember, just like how much of the Ice Ice Baby I remember. It's just like I don't even like
for
the song.
Not even a B-list singer,
Yeah.
rapper. He's really made a following. I'm just saying.
Making Amish furniture.
Actually, he does do that.
he does, I know.
And he also has a home show
Yeah.
where he like rehabs homes.
Yeah.
So aside from his music career, he's really made something of himself. And you gotta give him credit for that.
Well, he stopped, collaborated, and listened.
That's right. He paid attention to his own
He came back with a new invention. Home buildings.
and carpentry.
Carpentry. That's what I was looking for, not home buildings.
So home buildings. The third one's ass, though. The third TMNT movie.
My opinion of the movies is like kind of goes along with the release dates.
Yeah.
So
the further along they are, the worse they are.
yeah.
Which explains why the Michael Bay ones are so bad.
I honestly forgot
Okay, Michael Bay, if anything, is pretty bad.
he made The Rock.
He did make The Rock. The Rock is a fantastic movie. But the thing is, I've mentioned this in an article when I was discussing Six Underground, his most recent movie. The fact that Michael Bay has the
Actually, I like Six Underground.
I couldn't get into it. It was terrible. He has the directorial style and attention span of a 6-year-old. So if you can get him to like focus on anything and make the smashy good time car movies that like they'll turn out great. But if you let him wander off, get high on Red Bull, and just go to town with his smashies, his movies are nigh unwatchable. So, and I personally felt that about Six Underground, but I really felt that about the 2 TMNT movies he made. They were hot garbage.
Ugh.
And I sat through both of them just so I could have that opinion.
At least you
Yay.
did. At least you watched it before
I did.
having an opinion.
I
Hey,
did.
you voted. You're allowed to bitch.
Because I never watched them and I had that opinion. I saw their masks. I was like, they
You
look
saw the
fucking
trailer and went,
ridiculous.
wow, that's hot garbage.
I
Yeah.
mean, the best I can say is that they weren't aliens, which was his original plan, was to make them aliens instead of mutated
Woof.
turtles. Yeah, which then why are they called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
yeah, if they're
then?
not mutants.
Yeah,
Or ninjas or turtles.
yeah.
Are they really teenagers?
Teenage Mutant Hero
I don't know.
aliens.
If Baby Yodas can be 50 years old.
That's a little weird. I will agree. So, those are the movies. Now, we have the cartoons, of which I think you only remember the 1980s one.
Which was amazing.
No.
Whatever ones you started out with was the ones I was watching.
Yeah, I watched it back in the day, and I don't even think I liked it back
Those were the
then. I
early
think they were
90s,
just fun
right?
for the toys.
They were just watching. They were just for.
They were noise.
Yeah.
Noise.
Noise.
To play in the background. And
Yep.
that's really what they're all they're good for. I tried watching the 2003 series on Foxbox, which is fun to say, Foxbox. And it was meh. It never hooked me.
TMNT was okay.
The movie or the new one?
The new one.
Yeah, the Nickelodeon
newer-
show?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That one was hella good. Up until the last season.
I haven't watched that far into it.
They split it in two, and like you could tell that Nickelodeon was done with the show, but they were letting them finish out their run, and it wasn't very
Okay,
good.
so I have a question.
Yes.
Why is Shredder so bad? What's he so angry about?
Well,
Got scratched by a rat, duh.
have you ever tried to pee while having that much metal on your hands? Like, you just cut yourself up, and that just makes you angry.
According to Mandalorian, it's the way. I'm just saying.
He can't take off his helmet. He's a Mandalorian. You're not allowed to see his face. No.
No, why was he so angry all the time? I didn't understand his
The
anger.
backstory for it is that he's just a bad dude. Anyway, he's just an angry dude. But his Splinter's master, Yoshi something or other, I don't remember.
Yoshi something.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like a Karate Kid kind of background.
It's a revenge
story.
thing. Yeah,
Okay.
he wanted the girl. Shredder's or Splinter's master had the girl. The girl died. Shredder blamed Splinter's master, even though it was Shredder's fault. Big story of revenge. Splinter's master died. Splinter
now must
then-
kill everything that
Splinter then upholds his master's name.
Right,
That is
gotcha.
if you use the version of the story where he's a rat. Whereas if he's a human, then it's not Splinter's master, it's actually Splinter himself who has that backstory. But it's one or the other.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So it's just a story of revenge.
Story of
and
revenge.
So Shredder wants to kill the turtles because
they're attached to
Splinter-
the dojo of the master and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And they keep getting in the way of his plans for world
So
domination.
Splinter's the reason they can't have nice things.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Everything gets broken because of Splinter.
Okay.
So,
Well, I guess that makes sense since he's Splinter.
yeah. It splinters.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. So, and then there was the live action TV show, The Next Mutation. I mean, I haven't even watched any of that. That's how like hard it is to get into it.
I remember
It's
when I was,
bad.
because that came out in the mid 90s,
It
right?
was mid to late 90s because it was during the Power Rangers boom because
Yeah.
it was produced
Were
by
there
the Power
baby
Rangers.
turtles?
Like
Isn't there a cartoon with baby turtles?
there's versions of the cartoon, or each of the cartoons, where they go back and do flashback to their past when they were growing up.
Okay.
Because I have some of those
And what are the
figures.
Squirtles? Or is that just
Pokemon?
a play
That's
on?
a Pokemon, yeah.
Right. Is that just a play on
That's just a parody of
Okay,
that.
okay.
It's just a T-shirt that your son owns.
Pokemon.
Got to catch them all, just like SCDs.
I have them.
Full collection. If you have them all, they fight each other and they stop fighting you. Science.
And you're dead.
Science. Well, your corpse is going to be well preserved. Okay.
That's right. Superhero, metahuman.
So, and then the new TV show was I liked the first Nickelodeon show. I tried to watch Rise of the Ninja Turtles, which is the most
I
recent
couldn't
one.
get into that one.
My God, it pained me.
Is the new thing just to say everything's rising?
Yes.
Okay.
Rise of the Apes, Rise of the Turtles, Batman rose.
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, they all rise. Rising is the big thing in Hollywood right
Right
now.
now. Okay.
Yeah. Everyone's got to have a boner.
Me too. Beautiful.
Every franchise. Me Too moment. Hashtag feminism. So, and then of course there's, the thing that most people I think really pay attention to for the Turtles, if you're of our age, Josh, was the video games. Because the arcade game, I'm sure even you've played the arcade game. It was hella fun. It was a good old time. Just wander around the streets of New York and various buildings and beat the crap out of foot soldiers, watch them explode, and then eventually go kill Shredder. Because that's what you got to do.
Right. That's what you got to do.
The first one wasn't super good.
Well, if you're on the NES, the arcade game actually technically came out first.
Yeah, the arcade was okay, but I was rubbish at it.
Yeah, and then they brought the NES game out, which was developed by a different team at Konami.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was a different team. And they didn't even understand what the license was, because if you actually play far enough into the game, April is actually Splinter's daughter, because they didn't understand the story they were adapting, and they went very Japanese with it.
Neat.
And then at the end, I love the ending. Splinter is like, "You have done well and defeated the Shredder. Now I can mutate back," and he just mutates back into a human because he decides to.
Oh.
Yeah.
The first
Stay
NES,
a rat.
first NES game is really bad. The second one is the arcade game. Because they just remade, they remade it basically into an NES game, and it's amazing how they crammed a really detailed arcade game into a little NES cartridge. It's really well done, honestly. And then you had the Manhattan Project that was just the arcade game, but longer, all over again. And then Turtles in Time, which was
the best.
I really like Turtles in Time because it's the arcade game, but with time travel.
That was my favorite, my personal favorite.
You go through a Western scene, and then you have these like cowboy-style foot soldiers that throw off their hat and then punch at you. It's dumb and funny.
Goofy.
It's so stupid. I love it.
And it's fun.
It is. It's a good time. It was a blast. The Game Boy games are not as good.
No, the one on Game Boy Advance, the TMNT game wasn't bad.
Oh, yeah. That one was basically River City Ransom, but with turtles. Yeah. I like that one a lot. But, none of them are the arcade game.
No.
Those two arcade games are really good. Love them. So, this has just been me talking about the Turtles for a while.
This is what we wanted.
You wanted me to just talk for an hour and you guys do nothing?
It was a shame that you've never got to talk about your passion.
I've asked questions.
You did. Squirtles.
Just curious.
Do we need to do this for you next for Hawkman? Do you just want to?
No one wants to listen to that.
Do you need an hour where you can tell us every minute detail about Hawkman?
No, I'll be like Charlie Kelly in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he
just makes a big board.
Makes a big board, and he's like, "No, you see," and it doesn't make any sense. And
how did they get
Hawkman.
A license to drive their truck?
Oh, it's unlicensed. They're illegal.
Oh, okay.
But then, of course, they technically are illegal immigrants anyway.
But there's a license plate on their truck.
They probably stole it.
April O'Neil did it for them.
That's why they're only hero turtles in Europe. They're not heroes here because they steal their stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You know how the Americans feel about immigrants.
I know, right? Always stealing our license plates and our jobs.
Damn turtles.
Living in our sewers.
We could have been ninjas living in the sewers if those damn turtles hadn't taken the job.
I hope everyone knows that's sarcasm and none of our comments.
Pizza.
Where did
and
they
then
get the money for
dying of high
pizza?
cholesterol.
I'm surprised that my younger child doesn't appreciate the turtles as much as you do, because he eats enough pizza that
he hangs around in his den all day and eats pizza and does not much else.
So really, he's just a ninja turtle.
Yeah,
except
without the ninja.
Without the nerd. Without
no, he's
the ninja.
a giant nerd.
Yeah, he is a giant nerd. Without the ninja, without the weaponry.
Without the inspiration.
That's not true. He has his sword
motivation.
in his room. So he does have a sword.
So he's Leonardo.
I guess. He's
Possibly?
Venus. He's Venus de Milo.
Is that the female turtle?
That's the female one from the live action cartoon or live action TV show.
So they named the female after not an artist, but a piece of art.
She picked her own name, but yes, they did.
Wrong.
Yeah, it's true because there are female Renaissance artists. Two names I can't remember right now, but they do actually exist. I know.
So wrong.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And there were plenty of male artist names.
Wasn't Venus de Milo? Wasn't that a Michelangelo piece?
Might have been. No, I think that was like the true Venus de Milo. I don't know. There's a Greek statue. There's a lot of Venus statues.
Oh, there is. Yeah. Yes.
Josh will look it up.
I am looking it up.
He is looking it up.
But Venus de Milo, I think, was a Michelangelo.
It's probably a Renaissance work if they're naming her after it.
Was she dating any of the turtles?
It was.
They thought of her as a sister.
Alexandros of Antioch.
Oh. See, Alexandros would have been better.
The statue was anyway.
Okay.
Alexandros would have been better.
That's Alexandros.
Yes.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Shame on you, people who named that poor turtle.
Okay.
Did she have a pink thing?
No, she was like cyan. So it looked really weird against her green skin.
Yeah,
It's not that's great. Right
Here's
now.
a picture of her just so you know how terrible it looked.
Ew. That's
No, yeah, I know.
disturbing.
Well, that was the whole show. The whole show was disturbing looking.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair
Anyway.
enough.
So, I think we're done with the turtles unless anyone has any other questions.
Yet.
This has been Not So Live from Asteroid G. I'm Mike Finkelstein,
I'm Josh Schaefer.
I'm Queen Bee.
and we will see you next time.